Hi, I'm Chuck Dorsett for Weaver Leather Supply, and this is the Leather Element. If you've got a good question for us or a good idea for a Leather Element, drop it in the comment box below. Also, if you want to know when our videos release, just click your notifications. You'll know exactly when these come out. So we're going to look at the wooden strap cutter. Cost per use, #1 in our shop. I use this on about 80% of my projects. It will cut straps so easily. It's comfortable, the blades are sharp, they're inexpensive, and they're easy to replace. That hits every point. All right, so let's step over here and look at how to load a blade. When we receive our wooden strap cutter, it's going to come with a blade already in it, but we also get a little pack of extra blades. I rarely change these out. That's a good, sharp, quality blade. Now, we're going to look at every bit of this, but it's a relatively simple tool to work with. Extremely durable. Mine lasted 20 years before actually the threads up here ultimately gave out. But like I said, well worth every penny. Let's start right here. So up top, we've got a screw here, and that allows us to adjust the width of our strap. So let's take this cross arm out. Now, there are two ways to replace our blade or change out our blade. Officially, first off, we've got two plates here. Let's unscrew this enough out to where this blade will simply slip over to the side. And there we go. Now, right inside, notice we've got two cuts here. Our blade is going to insert, and you can see on this one, we've got our cutting edge right there. I want the cutting edge facing my measurements here. So I can push that down in, I can feel it with my finger. Be careful, these are very sharp. Now I'm just going to flip that piece back around and tighten it down. Get that good and tight. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. That blade falls right into that slot. Let's flip that around, and now we're going to tighten this screw. Okay, so our arm with our blade inserted is ready to go in, and we can see the blade in there. Now, why I said there's two ways to do this, typically what I'll do is loosen this enough to let go of the blade. Down here, this is a small screw which will keep these two arms parallel. So I'm just going to open that up, but notice I can get that far enough to where that will swing, and I can simply take the blade out. So let's put that back in. I'm going to tighten this down. Good, there we go. Now these, actually a nice detail. It keeps our blade from slipping out because it's hard to see that little blade. Super easy to cut ourselves or damage our project. Now, here's a key point, and we'll talk about why we need to do this. But notice on my handle here, this side has a little bit of an indent to it where this side is absolutely flat. We want to insert this to where our blade is on the indent side, but also I'm going to hold this in my right hand or left hand. I want my numbers or my measurements facing me. So let's pull this out. There's 1.5 inch. Let's tighten our screw down on that. There we go. Now I'd like to tighten this a little bit more. So I'm going to put that flat on my quartz or my work table, and let's just give that an extra little turn. Now we're ready to cut some straps. Let's jump over to our main table, cut some leather. If we're cutting belt blanks or straps, this is going to be our best friend. Say a double shoulder or a single bend, we can strap that down into belt blanks in about 2 minutes. Best part, every strap is going to be exactly the same width. Now, as a good side note, say we're buying our belt blanks ready to go. Well, if we strap these out, we're actually paying about 25% of the cost. So that's the most cost-effective way to go. Now, to start with, we've got to bust a straight edge into our leather. With our strap cutter, what I'm going to do, where it's set at 1.5, let's bring this down to 1 inch. There we go. Tighten that down, give that a little extra tight. Now, our tendency is to push. Well, we don't want to do that. What we're going to do is we're going to grab a tab and we're going to pull a little bit left. So let's get started. How about that? Now, this is our holster leather, and it's absolutely beautiful. We could tool this. This is a dyed veg tan. We could tool and stamp this. Okay, so we've got to start. What I'm going to do is grab this little tab and pull just a hair to the left. So therefore, I don't have to force my tool over, and it's going to get a perfect cut every time. So let's just pull that a hair to the left. How easy is that? Now let's just double check end to end. Absolutely the same width. Now here's a cool little trick. Say we're trying to strap from a smaller piece. Well, we can absolutely strap it like this, but it's going to be a little bit hard to push. Let's just do this. I'm going to put it right next to my body, hold my wood strapper right there, and there we go. I'm using my body to actually keep the leather stable. So it makes, again, a very clean cut. Let's just double check this and see how we did. Exactly the same width, both ends. Very good consistency. That's one of the things I'm looking for. Now, here's another trick. This isn't happening here. In fact, it might down on this end, but you'll see where I'm going with this. From time to time, the edge of our leather, it can be a little bit soft. So what we're going to do, let's just take our wooden strap cutter, and I'm just going to pull in just a little bit, just enough to where I can see that cut, because that leather's going to roll. It's not going to bite for us. So let's take our knife. I can see exactly where that cut is. There we go. Let's just do a little 1/2 inch cut. All we're doing there is getting our blade past that soft edge to a point where it will start to cut. So now that slips right in and we're on our way, even if we do have a soft edge here. One last trick, and this is a big point. Body is everything. The body of the leather. You'll see what I mean. This is our Red Rock in rust. It's a pull-up leather. Love this leather. But notice how flimsy it is. So I will never get this to be able to try to strap out of that. Funny thing, right here, this is our English bridle. It's got some good body to it. So same weight, but watch this. When we jump over to strap that, look how easy that is. Good, let's check our width. Absolutely perfect. That's exactly what we're looking for. Now there's one little trick here that can be very frustrating to us if we're new at using one of these. So let's jump over to our pattern table, knock that out. I want to bring this up because this can be very frustrating, and I only speak from experience there. On our body, I mentioned earlier, notice we've got the recess right here. Well, we want our cutting blade to that side of our handle. If we by chance get this reversed, what's going to happen is when we go to strap, our leather's going to catch right on that edge, and we're not going to be able to figure out why that won't go through. Like I said, I'm simply speaking from experience here. So let's make sure we get our arm on the right side. We want our cutting edge on the side of that recess. But here's another good point. In fact, a quality point. Here's one of the older strappers or strap cutters. Notice that little plug simply falls out. Right here, that actually screws on. So that's not going to fall out and roll around while we're trying to load our arm in there. It's not a big point, but it's a helpful point. When we take the cost of this tool and put it up against accuracy, ease, durability, there's no better tool in our shop. I hope the wooden strap cutter works as well for you as it does for me, and I hope this is good information. Thanks for taking time to watch The Leather Element. Good luck with your projects.